Good evening and welcome to FSCTV. I'm Kate Murphy.
And I'm Andrew Pauling. Tonight on FSCTV, SGA petitions state government, Lakeland snakes make headlines, and Jeff Bezos pledges $10 billion.
From Studio A on the campus of Florida Southern College, this is FSCTV.
Parking this weekend is expected to be limited on campus due to multiple campus-wide events happening through Saturday. The College Board of Trustees were on campus today with meetings continuing through the end of the day on Friday. Tomorrow is also the dedication of the Carol Jenkins Barnett Center for Early Childhood Learning and Health building, as well as the February Scholars Weekend. The dedication is set to take place at noon with Scholars Weekend activities starting at 4 p.m. This is the last overnight Scholars Weekend of the semester, but there will be a one-day event on March 21st.
Student government is asking for your signature on a petition to the Florida State Legislature asking to not pass a bill set to make sweeping financial changes to how the state assists colleges. Among other things, the bill will change the eligibility requirements for the Effective Access to Student Education program, which grants $2,841 to students who attend one of Florida's approximately 30 not-for-profit private colleges or universities, including Florida Southern. According to an email from SGA Vice President Madeline Walsh, over 1,600 students at Florida Southern receive funding from this program every semester. Bill sponsor Randy Fine said it is needed to reduce the cost per degree at smaller institutions and repurpose some state money currently being used for student grants. The petition will be delivered in person to Representative Fine by SGA President Arjit Tipernini next week.
Another installment of the Florida Lecture Series is set to take place tonight at 7 p.m. in the Hollis Room with George Washington, the character of a founding father. Jean Allen Smith, who currently serves as the director of the Center for Texas Studies at Texas Christian University in Fort Worth, is a specialist in 19th century maritime and military history. He will speak on the role of Washington's character that played on the country's foundation. This event will count as a Learning Beyond the Classroom passport credit. The final spring event in this series will take place on Wednesday, March 18th.
Number 5, men's basketball picked up a big win on senior night over Eckerd, while women's basketball fell in double overtime. Women's tennis saw their first win of the season against Tampa in a 5-2 showing, while softball dropped both games of a road series at Flagler. Women's lacrosse opens their season tonight, their home portion of their season tonight at 7 p.m. against Adelphi on Moccasin Field. Men's and women's track will be competing in the first weekend of the Tampa Track Classic tomorrow afternoon on the campus of the University of Tampa. For your in-depth weekly update on all things FSC athletics, watch The Snake Bite every Wednesday at 3 right here on FSC TV.
The city of Lakeland made national news this past week when the city announced that the snakes found near the roundabout on Lake Hollingsworth were congregated for mating. Lakeland City closed off part of the park and put up tape for public awareness after numerous reports of the snake orgy near the lake. The non-venomous water snakes congregate yearly during mating season, and Lakeland Parks and Recreation Department said not to disturb them. The department said that the snakes are, quote, an important part of the ecosystem and should not be disturbed, end quote. The CEO of the West Central Florida branch of the YMCA has resigned to take a new position within the company in South Carolina. Kirk Ike has been the CEO since 2013, but has previously worked in the YMCA community for 30 years. Alice Collins has been named the interim CEO as the group's board of directors pursues a nationwide search for a new leader. The local organization said in a news release that, quote, under Kirk's guidance, the YMCA of West Central Florida has grown its community partnerships and has opened new channels for many members of our community to gain access to all that our organization offers within our 5 Polk County YMCA branches.
Tigers Hall of Famer Ty Cobb will be returning to Tigertown this spring as a life-size statue of the Hall of Famer has been gifted to Publix Field at Joker Marchant Stadium from the Ted Williams Museum and Hitters Hall of Fame. David McCarthy, the museum's executive director, said, quote, we felt the statue would be perfect up there in Lakeland. It's the only logical place because he was a Detroit Tiger, end quote. Lakeland Parks and Rec Director Bob Donahue told the Ledger, quote, "The statue will be installed behind the ticket office in Tiger Town's main concourse for fans to view and take pictures with," end quote. The Winter AUTOFEST is set to take place at the Sun and Fun Expo campus in Lakeland this weekend. The three-day event includes multiple car shows, vendors, and sessions, as well as access to a collector car auction featuring over 400 cars. Tickets can be purchased on their website with single-day and weekend event passes available.
Early last week, Amazon CEO Jeff Bezos pledged $10 billion for the launch of the Bezos Earth Fund. The fund aims to address issues pertaining to what scientists have coined the climate crisis. Bezos announced on his Instagram that the fund would finance scientists, activists, nonprofit organizations, and others to help the planet. However, some of his employees are unsatisfied with the donation. The group Amazon Employees for Climate Justice said, quote, "One hand cannot give what the other is taking away," end quote. They continue to elaborate on Amazon's history of helping oil companies and funding climate delaying policies. Bezos said he expects to begin issuing grants by the summer. President Donald Trump pardoned 7 people last Tuesday. The 7 whom he granted clemency to had been convicted on charges including fraud, concealment, and conspiracy, among others. Among those pardoned was Rod Blagojevich, who was convicted of selling President Obama's Senate seat before he became the president. The pardons come as part of Trump's stated commitment to criminal justice overhauls and reversing the excessive sentences given to minority groups. The recent pardons came by recommendations from friends, business executives, and political allies, instead of the Justice Department's pardons office. Trump called Blagojevich's sentence a, quote, "tremendously powerful, ridiculous sentence," end quote.
For anyone who has ever wanted to go to space, your chance may be coming up. SpaceX is teaming up with an American space tourism company called Space Adventures to send tourists to space as early as 2021. The proposed spaceship, called the Crew Dragon, will feature 3 windows and 4 seats. The trip's pricing is estimated to be just over $50 million per person. The passengers would undergo astronaut training before the trip and spend 5 days in space, going higher than any civilian has traveled in decades. SpaceX is already running training sessions for NASA astronauts who will use the Crew Dragon to transport them to the International Space Station. That's your news for this week. We'll be back with you guys next Thursday at 5 right here on FSCTV. I'm Andrew Pauling.
And I'm Kate Murphy. Until then, you can follow us on Twitter at TV_FSC or on Facebook at FSCTV.